How good is that team that you just played, the Houston Texans, when you think about the whole totality of this league? How good are they, you think?
I mean, they're a really good team. Honestly, I feel like you just kind of look at their roster, look how they structured their team, top to bottom. I feel like they have. I don't think there's too many holes in their team. Really, I think they're really well-rounded team. I don't think there's really any weaknesses in the offense. I mean, the biggest thing I can say is if you can knock out the run, then you'll have a chance. But I know if they get the run going and then they get the play action and the big plays and the explosives, and then on top of that with the extending the plays, I mean they're a very dangerous offense. And then defense, shoot, if they get pressure like that against everybody, they'll be a very dangerous squad. So I mean, hats off to them.
What kind of growth did you guys see from last week to this week? Again, you only gave up one touchdown. After the film study this morning, it's a loss, right? But you got to take it to your side of the ball. What kind of growth did you guys feel?
What kind of growth? I mean, honestly, it's hard to really say because we didn't really look at it from a growth perspective. I think it's kind of still looking at it from leaving plays out there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Just being able to see it and dissect it. Like as good as that game was, it still could have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, honestly, kind of just also tipping your hat off too, because I mean, we gave up. I think it was 9 explosives, maybe in the past, and 6 of them came on scramble drill. So it's like it's kind of tough when you're going against teams who get their big plays like that. So I think really just for us, just getting back to the details, just trying to always stay detail oriented, continue to work on the communication. But I mean, for the most part, it's gonna be a hard sled when it comes to trying to score on us for sure.
So, Jaylon, Tank Dell's pretty good. Stephon Diggs has had more than 1,000 for 6 straight years, one of only 2 guys in the NFL. But the best wide receiver on that team, I think, is Nico Collins. Did you want to be on Nico Collins all night long? Did you express that this week? Knowing you, we wonder.
Nah, honestly, I don't even go into the locker room or the unit meetings, even talking about it. Coming, like I said, I've been saying this since what my second year.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not too much of a conversation anymore. It's at the end of the day, they know who they have, and myself being able to go and playing against number one wide receiver. So if that's something that they feel as a staff they want me to do, then I'm more than welcome in that. But I mean, for the most part, I don't bring it up. That's not up to me.
All right. I wondered if that was still something that drives you, because when we talked about it a couple years ago, it sounded like it was something that that
But
that was driving
I
you.
mean, it doesn't drive me because it doesn't happen really. So I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of just let it go
Yeah.
and kind of just look at it from a holistic standpoint as far as teams, offenses, and things like that, and not just kind of one receiver that I had to focus in on. So, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't. That part of it doesn't drive me. Now, of course, you still have your matchups against that guy. I'm not just going to say, oh, well, I don't look at the number one wide receiver, but definitely kind of look at everything from a broad perspective now, knowing that I don't travel too much unless that's something they call me to do.
Do you play your own game? So they had 3 different styles of receivers. Do you play your own game, or do you have to change your style a little bit when you see them come over to your side?
Nah, I do what I mean, I do what I do, but I think honestly, I'm strong enough to go against bigger receivers,
Yes.
quick enough, have good enough feet to go against smaller receivers. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like just my style of play allows me to be versatile and the guys that I'm guarding.
All right. The run game. So you're a complete corner. I've been loving watching your game the entire time. Some corners, they just want to cover. Running back comes out on the edge. They don't want to take it on. When and how did you become like a complete corner? Was there a coach? Is this a mentality you've always had? Like, when did that come about?
Honestly, I would say I've always had it. I mean, I didn't play corner in my early years of football because I didn't like that. It was too boring. You didn't really get any passes thrown. You couldn't tackle anybody. So it's like growing up, I always had that mentality of tackling. And then, of course, as I got older, I started really playing the position and honing in really on the craft of it. But I know, especially when I got to college, we had these things I'll never get. We had what we call Bloody Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, that first Tuesday back, we had full pattern practice. Our coach made us go full speed tackling drills, and this is just a position coach. So my position coach kind of instilled into our head like we're going to tackle on the outside, and we would be like 10 yards apart, catch a screen and you got to go and really tackle the guy. So I think for me, it's honestly been something that I'm used to doing. I think just it's kind of just second nature. Especially I think for me, really taking pride in just making the plays that come to me. If it's a screen pass, I take extreme pride in being able to blow up screen passes. If people still throwing bubbles and tons of screens my way, I feel like I'm not doing a good enough job. But I think especially really in the run, I feel like it's one of those things where if you take it off the tape, they're not going to keep going and trying to run your way. But as soon as you kind of whiff one, then they'll keep calling that same play, and then the next team will see it and run the same play. So for me, I kind of try to eliminate it early to really get it off of me so much.
So what you're telling me is those drills in college, nobody wanted to line up against you. You had the mentality already.
Say it again?
The drills in college, the Bloody Tuesday. You know when you go one-on-one with somebody and you look across and you're like, oh, no, I got to go against him. You were that guy already in college. Like, you have the mentality, which I love to see.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, too, I mean, especially like as a freshman, you're trying to figure yourself out. But
Right.
it's like after that freshman year, you turn into that takeover, especially going to my sophomore year, trying to take it over, my junior year, taking it over. So I think especially when it came to, like, really we had stock block drills with the receivers, tackling drills. So, I mean, all those type of drills, I took extreme pride in not losing. So, I mean, whether it was a stock blocking drill, I probably lost one rep in 2 years, honestly speaking. So I think just stuff like that, just taking extreme pride in everything I'm doing, whether it's the physicality of the game, if it's technique, if it's one-on-ones. I mean, the guys that go against me know Jaylon don't like losing, especially one-on-ones and stock blocks and all those type of drills. Is something I love to dominate.
I jumped up off the couch last night, Jaylon. I got mad on your behalf because we think of you as our guy, friend of the show.
Right.
I got mad when Nico Collins, as he finished that TD catch, he whirled around and it looked like. Well, you tell us what happened as he finished that catch. What did you feel? And how did that register to you? What happened at the end of that play from Nico Collins?
I mean, honestly speaking, of course, he caught the ball across the middle, missed the tackle. So I was going to tackle him, and as I was tackling, I'm like, man, he's already in the dang end zone. So I was really honestly letting up. So as I'm kind of going to let up a little bit, I feel like he was trying to like throw me off, like kind of like slam me off of him a little bit. So of course I like kind of fell hard, and I kind of looked. I was like, I'm gonna let him have it because he already scored. Ain't no point in doing something stupid after the fact. But I mean, I can't be mad at him. He scored. He got in the end zone. So I mean, I didn't take it personal, but it was a little extra. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. He scored, got in the end zone, made a good play. So I mean, the best way to take away that is not let him catch the ball.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that is some maturity from your part. I did not have such maturity on the couch. I thought he threw an elbow at your helmet, man. That's what every time they showed the replay, it looked like more and more like he elbowed your helmet intentionally. Did it register like that?
I mean, honestly, I didn't really feel it too much, like what actually happened in the moment. So I think just kind of just getting, I mean, it was a hard fall. I would say that was probably the only thing that I felt kind of just like him kind of trying to throw me off of him. But I didn't really know. I mean, when I do see him, I'm like, damn, that kind of looks aggressive. But I mean, I'm not tripping off of it too much. I know it's going to be part of his highlight and me being on it. So at least on the end of it. So, I mean, it is what it is.
So it was turned up a little bit. Sometimes I've seen it stood on the sideline for a lot of games. And some games, there's a little more chirping between the wide receiver and the DB. This game seemed like it was that way. Was it that from the beginning, or was it Tariq's finger in his face? You know, what turned that up?
I feel like it was like that from the jump. I feel like, honestly,
just one of those games.
I feel like it was really our secondary versus their wide receiver group as a whole. And I mean, they came in chippy as well too. I mean, guys trying to block a little extra hard and things like that. So I mean, we definitely, both of us, I feel like, trying to set a certain tone for what the game is going to be like.
Well, you know, you mentioned Tyreek Stevenson, you know, NFC defensive player of the week last week. Last night, a couple of tough penalties. Like, do you talk to him at all? Was he over the edge of the physicality in terms of the energy, or you think what'd you think of his game last night?
I mean, to answer your question, as far as like, do I talk to him? I wouldn't say. I don't really say too much. 'Cause I mean, at the end of the day, that's not the time and the place to say it, of course. And honestly speaking, I don't see and know everything that's going on myself. So I think, honestly, I just let him play. Because I mean, when you get, I know I don't like those coaches and people who always have something to say and kind of talk too much. So I know for me, I don't really say too much. He knows what he's doing. I feel like at this point to be able to play the game at a high level, to be smart, to not get certain penalties. So I mean, certain things you don't have to kind of coach or tell somebody. It's kind of an obvious thing. Of course, if you get a hands to the face, the only thing you say is don't hit him in the face. I mean, that's an obvious coaching point, but I feel like for the most part, I don't think he got. I think he drew Nico with the I don't know if it's unnecessary roughness, unsportsmanlike conduct, whatever it was. So even little things like that, it's kind of a borderline that's to where you want to push somebody, but also not give up any extra yards.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but apparently it's okay if you want to punch somebody in the helmet, like Aziz, like Aziz Al Shair did. If you want to headbutt somebody as well, like that's all
it's
fine and good.
Game, I guess. Yeah, it's all free game. But I'm pretty sure if Roshan would have punched him back, then he would have got the flag. So I mean, it's that was crazy. Maybe the ref didn't have a good view. I mean, we had a good view on the sideline, but I mean, maybe the ref didn't, or he chose not to throw the flag. But I mean, you shouldn't be able to get away with the first punch and the head. But I feel like that was at least the head, but maybe not the punch. But I mean, there's no way you didn't see any of that. But I mean, hey, at the end of the day, we were in their house, so hopefully we get some of that love back at our house.
But man, like I went back and looked again, Jaylon. It was all offensive players in that little huddle there, you know. So it was right in front of the offensive players. But were you close by? Did you see that? Were you thinking about jumping in at all?
I mean, they were, like you said, they were on kind of the offensive side, and I was sitting down, so I was trying to recover myself. So you kind of see it on the big screen, and it kind of just happens too quick. So it's like by the time you see the punch thrown, head bunt, boom, they're kind of pushing them out already. So I mean, I wasn't gonna get up to run over there and try to act like I was gonna do something, because I mean, what was I gonna really go over there and do? It was enough people to draw it away, so I wasn't going in there going to draw no punches or nothing like that. So I mean, it was just one of those situations where, of course, God hit Caleb. We got to protect the teammates, but I definitely think Buddy got up doing a little too much.
Man, Pat Manley was on the Bears for 16 years. Would you have had that kind of maturity, Pat, that Jaylon is talking about? Like keeping it under restraint?
The money, if you're talking money, yeah, just being a long snapper, I wouldn't want to lose any money. But how does Roshan not throw a punch back? When I saw I was like, wow.
That's the difference. You talking about you asking me being on the bench. I was already sitting down, nor did I was the one that got punched. So I mean, I feel like in that moment, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't have done anything back if I was on the other end of being punched. So I mean, that part I might have took the fine, because I mean, yes, by the time then you have no respect for me. Like I feel like as a man, just punch like, yes. And it's not like it was a push, a mush, like. That was a straight punch. I mean, for me, I got to at least get 1 or 2 off.
Yes, I'm with you. If somebody punches you in the face,
that's different. If I'm in the mix already, yes, if I'm over there and I get pushed or punched, I mean, that's a whole different
story. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Jaylon Johnson here with us on Spiegel and Company. It's Spiegs and Pat Manley. Jaylon, through 2 games, it feels kind of similar, you know? Mm-hmm. Like it feels kind of similar to last year or the year before or a little bit the year before. And I know players are different, coaches are different, and everything like that. But do you catch yourself at all saying, man, this feels like years I've been through, games I've been through before?
No doubt. At the end of the day, I am human, and there's definitely blood flowing under the skin of mine. So, I mean, for me, it's definitely one of those things where it's like you kind of look at it like, this ain't looking or feeling too good. So, I mean, honestly, you just like you'll think that, and then it's just but things are going to turn around. Of course, like I've been through this situation with having rookie quarterbacks and things like that, and kind of knowing how much time it takes for that to get going, just for him in itself to get going. And then, of course, we got a lot of new pieces, new OC, new star pieces on our team. O-line is new, so it's like. It's not really too much to just go out here and expect them to just go and put up 30. It's like they gotta earn their way into that. And I think really that's what they're doing. They're trying to get better, trying to find their identity, try to find where they want to be dominant and how they want to attack defenses and things like that. So really just for us, we're trying to give them many opportunities as possible, give them short fields, turn the ball over. I mean, just really do what we can, because I mean, regardless of if they're scoring or not, we still want to be a dominant defense. So.
Well, you guys have started that. And then speaking of that, let's talk about their all right, as being a special teamer, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm going to do it. How frustrating is it for you guys on defense now these darn kickers can hit 59-yard field goals? You know what I mean? At the half, you feel like you stopped him, right? You're like, all right, we got him. We're going to get off the field. He's going to, but now they're walking out there and making 59-yard field goals. It feels like your goals have now changed to keep him out of the quote unquote red zone or the kicking zone.
Yeah, nah. Honestly, it's crazy because I didn't really even comprehend that we only held him to one touchdown because of how many field goals dude made, and it was kind of seeing the score. It's like, damn, okay, we gave up 2 touchdowns, a field goal or 2, but it's like, nah, he was knocking down dang near 60 yards. So it's that was, and it was multiple times of plus 50. I think he either set a record or tied a record, I think, for the most 50-yard kicks in 2 games. So I mean, he definitely he earned his check yesterday for sure. So I mean, ain't too much we can do about it. Try to go in there, get pressure, maybe make him uncomfortable. Try to get him off his mark, but he was definitely knocking him down.
So listeners really appreciate your honesty in saying that it felt similar, Jaylon. And it's because you've experienced it, you've lived it.
Right. Yeah.
When you guys watch film, did you watch film today already as a group?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you guys watch film, does it look similar on film, or is this a quarterback who got better one week to the next?
You saying do we watch offensive film?
Yeah. Did you see any offensive film and if you did, and if you didn't, how's the vibe in terms of the conversation with the team? Do you feel like the quarterback got better from week 1 to week 2? Your quarterback.
Do I feel like he got? I mean, like I even said last week, I'm no quarterback coach. I'm no expert in quarterback play just to say, oh yeah, he just got better. I know there was a point in time where I felt like he put his damn foot down, and I felt like he tried to run a guy over, was trying to get some tough yards. So, I mean, something like that is something that I haven't ever seen. And of course, I mean, in practice, you're not gonna see it, but I feel like this week, I feel like he got to a point where okay, the hell with this. I got to go in here and at least try to make something happen. And he went in there and he had a tough run. So, I mean, kind of something like that, you kind of see him having that fight back and something that you love to see, I guess. I guess. Something that you love to see as a defense, as a defensive guy. But I think really overall, I think all of the offense just knows that it's not the standard that they want. Really talking to them and like, man, we got to give you guys more. So I think just really staying together, but also them holding each other accountable, us holding them accountable. Because I mean, we set the bar high for ourselves in the off season, throughout camp, everything that we were doing. So I feel like for the performances that have happened in these first 2 weeks, it definitely isn't what we want, top to bottom, offense or defense. So I think really just accepting that, looking each other in the eye, each person looking in the mirror, and really just trying to find different ways to get better to not let it happen again. And I feel like we got another opportunity, of course, this week to figure it out and go 1-0 and then get back at 2-1.
So, and I played very similar feeling what we were talking about, what you had, but Urlacher and those guys, Coach Hoke was there, Eric Washington was there. They believed we didn't need the offense. We're going to win the game defensively. We can outscore you defensively. Is that the mentality that's still up there at Hallis Hall?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like you kind of go into the game, of course, you feel like that. I know, honestly speaking, you can't go too far, I feel like, really with that. I think at the end of the day, that's a situation where you want that to happen a few times throughout the year, not going to the game, like, okay, defense going to win this game, every week. It's like that ain't how it works, not in the National Football League. So I think really just for us just staying hungry on defense, knowing that there's still plays out there for us to make, knowing that there's still more for us. So really just being hungry, going out there and trying to be dominant. That's our best thing. Well, that's our biggest thing right now, trying to be the best, trying to be the top 3, top 5 defense in the league. So we're going to continue to hunt, but we definitely going to need some help for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jaylon, we've been talking about a bunch. I think the quarterback did get better from week 1 to week 2. He showed a lot of stuff in that first half, and maybe things got a little bit out of hand in the second half with some of as many times as he got hit. But my confidence and a lot of people's confidence is exactly where it's been. You put this matchup in week 8, and it's a 1-score game with $1:37 to go, like you guys set him up with. I bet it's a different story in week 8. What do you think?
Definitely. I mean, it's one of those things where you can always be optimistic and just say, yeah, I feel like definitely don't know where we're going to be at in week 8, but hopefully it's in a position where we don't look how we looked yesterday. So I think just really continue to improve, continue to find an identity, figure out ways to attack the defense. I feel like they ran a lot of man-to-man. And I mean, I feel like we have the right guys to be able to exploit that. So really just finding the right matchups, finding where the weak links are, I felt like is probably the best way to go about it. Because, I mean, especially with a team like that, you just on pressure and play man. You got to make teams pay for stuff like that. And I feel like even Minnesota, they go on pressure and things like that. The Lions are going to pressure. So I feel like we definitely got a good look at it from offense perspective of a lot of pressure and then some one-on-one matchups on the back end. So we're going to see it later on in the years.
Yeah, that's for sure. Jaylon, did you enjoy the Cran Apple last week when you came and visited us? Our guy Chris Tannehill went out of his way to get the Cran Apple. He apologizes it was not in a can. Sorry about that.
No, honestly, I might have made the mistake, but to answer your question, no, I did enjoy it. It was good. I think too, I see it on the airplane, and I think it's really just a cranberry. But if for some reason it has an apple on it, so it throws me off. It has like the cranberries on the bottom and then the apple on top. So I don't know if the flavor is actually cran apple or if I just call it a cran apple because I see an apple on there with the cranberries.
Man,
I might have given him the wrong instructions.
So you sent him on a wild goose chase for a beverage that does not exist, is what you're saying?
No. No. It exists. I just don't know if I was calling it the right thing or not. But it definitely exists. I had one last night on the way back from.
Okay. All right. Good.
Do me a favor. Tell Coach Hoke I miss our morning coffees before team meetings. Hoke and I every morning would sit right next to each other before team meetings before the head coach would come in and we'd discuss life for 15 minutes for the team meetings.
Man,
great coach.
It depends on what morning you catch him on today. If he's on three cups already by 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Long day.
Yes. That's funny.
Jaylon, you're the best, man. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you next week.